Walker here from Psychologies magazine. I am joined by my lovely meditation teacher, Nick Scaramanga. Welcome today, Nick. Today we're going to be talking about how to start your day calmly. I can't wait, Nick. Nick has been the most brilliant inspiration to me. He has been my meditation teacher for the last couple of years. It inspired me to go on my slow journey, where I was learning how to slow down rather than firing lots of things, being on the phone, being on my iPhone, all of these things all makes me go very, very fast, Nick. And you have taught me how to do body scans, how to become more mindful, how to meditate every morning. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is about how we can, you've just started this amazing meditation club. So we're going to be talking about how we can start our day consciously and calmly. So how do we do it? Where do we start, Nick? How do we start with our morning?
Okay, well, I think that how we begin each day is really, really important, because it does set the tone for how we're going to spend the rest of that day. And from there on, obviously, that sets the tone as to how we live our lives. So I'm sure I'm not the only one who's guilty of this, but at times I've felt the temptation to sort of wake up, lean over, pick up my phone, check for messages, social media, all of this stuff. And before you know it, you're sort of sucked down a rabbit hole of mental whirlwinds. And if that's the way you start your day, then often that whole day becomes filled with stress. And it's not what I want, the way I want to live my life. And I really don't think it's actually how most of us want to live. But it's a habit that we can really easily get caught up into.
I mean, one of our wonderful ambassadors from Psychologies, she talked about that habit of picking up the phone. And she says, literally, my brain is hijacked from the moment I pick up in the evening, and my whole day is therefore hijacked, because it's about often what we end up doing in our lives is we're having all of this incoming bombarding us constantly, rather than actually choosing where we put our attention, because all we're doing is firefighting and, oh my goodness, and there's this news about this and news about that, oh my goodness. So what meditation teaches you to do is to sort of think, okay, let's first of all, notice and observe your thoughts, and start to consciously choose how we do it. So tell us a little bit how that process works. How does meditation work?
Well, I think that, I mean, the conscious choice of action is really fundamental, because if we don't actually, if we don't make a decision that we are going to act in a certain way, then we are hijacked by our already established habits, which are not all that good. So the more we consciously choose to observe, so it may be that you start off by, if you've got those habits, is really paying attention to how they make you feel, so that you, in that moment, you notice how draining you find it when you're sucked into depressing news or messages that you get caught up in. So by noticing how that can feel quite destructive in your life, and then starting to notice that when you introduce periods of calm, how different that feels, and really consciously choosing to bring your awareness to those different sensory experiences, it becomes much, much easier to choose to do the one that makes you feel good. And calmness is somewhere that's just, it's a much nicer place to be.
I mean, the thing is, many of us don't realize that we're doing it. And I think it takes work. I know from my own own meditation practice that you've taught me how to do, it takes work, and it takes a new habit. And I know that you've created this new meditation club, which I think is a genius idea. It's free, everyone can join in. Tell us a little bit about why that would work, why it works to kind of start creating a regular practice, and how we can support ourselves in the best way possible to be able to do that.
Well, I think you have to have the sort of reasonable and realistic expectations to start with. So we all know when we take up any new practice, we're going to have good days, we're going to have bad days, and there are going to be occasions when we trip up over the hurdles of life, and be that we may find that there are some days we forget, and some days that we're just not in the right mood. But I think having an intention to really, really want to transform our lives into a positive experience is the most fundamental aspect of it. So, if you fall, you sort of fall back into old habits. It's picking yourself up and starting over again. The closer you can get to making calmness, tranquility, whatever you want to call it, a part of your daily life, that really starts to permeate how you interact with life, your experience of life. To actually really engage with that. I've completely lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry, Susie. I can't believe I've gone on.
You were saying about the consciously at 7. So I know that with the new meditation club, you're doing a 7 a.m. meditation. And again, it's sort of arriving at 7 a.m. And, you know, it's a virtual club. Tell us a little bit about the club and why that's going to help us build this meditation habit.
Okay, so because it is really important to do something as often as you can to make it into a habit. Having a sort of a group whereby you can connect with other people, you're making a commitment to I mean, it's a commitment in your own mind. It's not something that you have to commit to, but by being part of a community that's actually doing something together, I think there's a natural inclination for us all to choose to actually commit to doing the best we can. And there's a sort of team effort involved in that. So we're running this at a specific time, 7 a.m. in the mornings, 3 days a week. And the idea of that is that it's a real sort of touch-in moment for people where they say, you know, I'm going to actually have to do this at a specific time. And by doing that, they're already making that conscious choice in their lives to live like that. So we're only doing it 3 days a week. So we're giving people that sort of experience in between where they've got to actually implement it on their own as well. So it's not going to be completely supportive. You have got to rely on your own self-discipline as well. But it is there as a sort of backbone for your practice. And the idea is that it's for people who've been meditating for years and who just want to have a regular touch-in. And it's also for people who just want to experiment and try meditation where there's a group of people around you. It's not sort of something that's just on a computer. You know, I mean, obviously we're doing it through Zoom, at least initially, but it's something where you're actually interacting with people. You can actually have some degree of communication with them. So it's a nice format to work with, I think.
It's a wonderful format to work on. And so what are the benefits of meditation? Why will, you know, starting the day calmly, meditating, what kind of impact will that have on us?
Okay, well, I think that if you set that tone right at the start of the day, then it just means that you're going to, you know, you're more likely to continue that thread going forward. And I think that every action that you have, you know, if you approach after you've done your calming practice in the morning, if you approach your partner or the people you live with or the people you go to work with that sense of calmness, they're going to reflect that back on you. And therefore you sustain that state of being much more readily. Obviously, there are going to be moments in the day that knock you off, you know, off balance. But if you're doing this every day, your inner strength will grow more and more, and you're just going to become more resilient to sort of the struggles and strains that life inevitably will throw up. I mean, this isn't a magic cure. It's a coping practice that basically realigns you with just allowing things to be how they are. Stop the resistance and stress taking over your life.
Yeah, I mean, what for me the greatest benefit to meditation that you've taught me is that one is observing your thoughts. So I thought what would happen would be I would meditate and the thoughts would stop. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to have this, I'm going to be sitting there zen and I'm going to have this completely calm mind. What's happened is all the thoughts are still there. It's just that I can take a step back from them. So I can notice my busy mind that it's doing this and doing this. And sometimes what happens is I get captured by a thought and it grabs me and I end up in there. But if I have learned to go back and just notice it. So there's for the first time in my life, there's a separation, an observation process happening. And for me, the benefit is that I can choose what thoughts to get involved with. And what I think I'm consciously choosing is I'm a beginner meditator, but I'm consciously choosing not to get involved with the very thoughts that are perhaps grumpy and negative, which will spiral me down, I know, into a really dark place. So, and being able to, one, notice other thoughts, but also to accept my thoughts. So that was because I was, we want to get, my old way was doing was getting rid of the negative thoughts and focusing on the positive thoughts. But there's also another thing that's happening for me is kind of accepting all of it as it goes past, and it's okay to be with that constant stream of thoughts, and they come and they go. So that's been a huge revelation to me, meditation. So what do you notice people learning on your meditation courses? What process do you see them going through?
Well, I think a lot of people start off with the sort of inner challenge of not really feeling sure that they're going to be able to sit still for 10 or 20 minutes. A lot of people have an absolute resistance to that. And it can be quite palpable. People find that we're so out of tune with stillness that it sort of resonates with, oh my God, I can't do this. But it's like anything, it's as you start to find that place of stillness, of calm within, and you stop resisting it, which, as you say, through awareness just starts to happen. You start to actually realize that this is actually a good place to be. That as you do that more and more, it just becomes easier and easier. And it stops being a struggle. But those struggles take on many different levels in our consciousness. So we don't, we may struggle with the fact of thinking we can do it. We then struggle with the things of thinking, well, is this something that I can keep up as a habit? I'm never going to be able to do this every day. There's going to be problems. There's that sort of destructive cycle within us. But it's just allowing whatever happens, taking it moment by moment, and it just unfolds. And you stop trying to fight everything, to fight your thoughts, to fight your negative belief patterns, and you just allow things. So much of this practice is about letting go of the struggle in whatever format that takes.
Yeah. As you know, in Psychologies, our back page columnist is Pema Chodron, who I'm also a massive fan of. Yeah, and her kind of, it's one of my words for this year actually, which is when all your thoughts are just stay with your thoughts. Don't be like go with them. Just stay in the place of noticing, observe. Yep. Don't run away with your thoughts. And I think that is, again, part of the practice. But again, people who are new to meditation, it's not always easy, but it is life transforming in so many ways. How did you get into this, Nick?
Okay, well, when I had, I've been meditating on and off for many years, like 20 odd years or something, 25 years, something like that. But a few years ago, I decided, a bit of a midlife crisis, that I wanted to take my practice to a new level. So I decided to sign myself up on my 50th birthday to an intensive Zen retreat, which was only a few days long, but was absolutely life transforming for me. So it really showed me the inner workings of my own mind and how much I was struggling, despite trying not to struggle, which of course is a struggle in itself, until I reached a point where I just let go. And again, there are different levels of letting go. It's not like you let go once and that's it, but there was a stage of letting go. And in that, there's just this wonderful sense of peace, of love, actually, for want of a better term, just came over me. And as it did for many other people who were doing the same retreat. And when you really experience how wonderful that space of pure beingness is, there's really no turning back. And that just sort of, led me to develop my meditation practice more and more, to train to become a teacher. because this is for everybody. This is something that really allows you to engage with the whole of your life, so that you're not just living your life as a sort of shadow of sort of half experienced, but you're engaged with each and every moment as fully as you possibly can, and allowing the bad things that happen, or seemingly bad things, to just be what they are. Life isn't all a bed of roses, but at least by noticing it and allowing it, you stop the suffering of resistance, the stress, the strain, and you just come into a place of acceptance. And that is a beautiful place to come to. And it's there for everybody. It really is.
I love what you just said about, feeling that sense of love and peace. What I see you doing is sharing that love. So you started this brand new meditation club. It's called, what's it called, and who are you doing it with?
Okay, so I'm doing it with a very good friend of mine, Sean Collins. And he's also a meditation and mindfulness teacher. And we decided we'd set something up together that was going to be there to help support people in their practice, people who haven't done it before, as well as people who want to continue with the community. And it's called Our Mindful Lives. So it's about it's very much about community, and it's about bringing mindfulness into our lives. So although it starts off as a morning meditation, it's very much about trying to get that to permeate the whole of our lives. And we will be offering help and support and advice to people as we go along, so that it's a much more personal experience than one might otherwise get. But it's going to be on Zoom, because that is obviously at the moment the platform that's most accessible for everybody in these difficult times. So, and reaches the most people.
I love about it, it's free and it's available to anybody. And I think the thing is you're absolutely right. This is not about the first 5 minutes of your day meditating and that's it. It's about how can we bring mindfulness to our whole lives. And I think there's something like this, that's the baby step, and then that's where it starts. And then you can start building a mindfulness practice throughout your whole life, going through. So if anyone's interested in our mindful lives and learning how to meditate, do have a look at the links below, and then you'll be able to click on them and find out more about my wonderful meditation teacher, Nick Scaramango. Once again, Nick, today I'm inspired. Once again, lots of love, and keep up the brilliant work.
Lovely. Looking forward to seeing you on my next course.
Yes, I am. See you on,
See you on Monday.